Mistweaver Monk is receiving a lot of changes in Midnight, and a lot of them are geared to make the caster build more playable in Mythic Plus. So what we're going to be doing today is something that I have been waiting months to do, and that is to play the Sithweaver build on the Midnight Beta. Now, the reason why we're calling it Sithweaver is because this build is going to be trying to test out Jade Empowerment, and it's kind of going to live and die on whether Jade Empowerment with the new just sustained Crackling Jade Lightning damage can be good sustained healing throughput and good damage. Outside of that, there are a lot of very powerful synergies going on, like kind of around that. So if Jade Empowerment fails to like pass the test in this dungeon, or in my testing, then there is another build that will be a more caster hybrid build that I think is going to be an insanely good build that will be in the next video after this one. But for this build, our maintenance throughput is going to be the damage from our cleaving Crackling Jade Lightnings. Now you don't have to pick your target wisely. You can kind of just hit any target and it'll cleave evenly on everything. But the very powerful synergies that we're going to be playing with is Shaylun's Gift. So if you haven't seen, Shaylun's Gift is going to replace Vivify. It's going to do a lot more healing to our single target that we choose. We're still running 5-man Shaylun, so it's going to hit all 5 people. Just we're going to slam our tank really hard with it. And you're probably like, oh, well, that's not that good. It's replacing Vivify. How are you going to do it that often? Well, since we're going to be using so much mana from sitting in Soothing Mist 2, we are going to be consuming Mana Tea stacks to then turn them into Shaylun stacks. So we basically have on-demand healing at all times. And if you're like, oh, well, this build traditionally has been very slow. If you get locked into like a Soothing Mist and you have to go into a Crackling Jade Lightning and then bounce back and forth, it's just very slow. Well, Emperor's Elixir is there to kind of save the day. This is such a powerful talent. It's mostly seeing a lot of praise because of the Rising Sun Kick synergy. However, the Enveloping Mist synergy is a great way to go from your maintenance throughput in a Crackling Jade Lightning straight into a Soothing Mist and start blasting the healing. This build is a ton of fun. No spoilers, but I have already done a dungeon to kind of test it out and get my UI all set up, and it went very well. However, like I said, this build will live and die on Jade Empowerment and how good it can be. So let's go ahead and get into the key, which, by the way, if you're watching this the day it goes live, odds are I'm live testing this build and many others, so definitely check to see if I'm live on Twitch or YouTube. And if you check and you miss the live, no worries. I stream 4 days a week. Just subscribe on YouTube and follow on Twitch. Both are free to do, and you can catch me live. Let's go ahead and get into the key. I'll see you there. All right, we are back, and we're in the pit of Saron. Is it Saron or Sauron, or how do you say this? I have no idea. But we're here, and this dungeon has a lot of pretty heavy throughput checks. I'm going to mark this tank, because I already have no idea where we're supposed to be going. But like I said, this dungeon has a lot of scary throughput checks, and they happen kind of right from the rip. So let's go and pop Yulon, get her in here. But luckily, this build has a lot of on-demand throughput. The problem with this build that I think we'll probably run into is this exact thing, that we might have to stop Crackling Jade Lightning a little too often. Let's go ahead and just use Leg Sweep because we still have it. Use the utility you have left over, right? But the way that this build is going to work, or perform, I should say, is that it's basically going to live and die on the whether or not you can Crackling Jade Lightning often. Like, is Crackling Jade Lightning going to do enough damage, thus enough throughput, like healing throughput, to be worthwhile? Because if you don't get a lot of Jade Lightning uptime, that means that you're going to be blasting through your mana bar, because basically everything else... Oh, maybe we meant to pull this down? Oh boy. Yeah, these liches, this little lich that we pulled from the top that's the scary thing. That's what we didn't want to see. They basically just do a ton of damage all the time, from what I've noticed. We're going to Dispel, and I'm also going to pop Fort Brew, which I now realize that I did not need to do that, because my Fort Brew does Dispel me now. But let's just keep these hots rolling. We do have Revival for like a panic button. Let's get like a couple more hots out and heals out during this damage. Then we can probably swap and crackle for a bit. But I think I said this in the intro, but I think that a big weakness to a build like this in the past was that it was like very slow to swap from your damage rotation to your healing rotation. Like if you just paired any kind of damage build with this like healing of soothing misting and hotting up and doing big ramps that way, there was like a global and a half delay between when you were actually able to do that. However, the new talent Emperor's Favor, I'm just gonna roll in. The new talent Emperor's Favor is basically like your toggle. You're basically toggling, am I doing damage right now or am I doing a bunch of healing? So you basically can sit in this crackling Jade Lightning for as long as you can, and then the moment that the healing needs to start, you pop Thunder Focus Tea, you Enveloping Mist someone, and Emperor's Favor starts a Soothing Mist on that person, so you're just ready to blast already. Let's go ahead and stun all those casts, and then I'm going to get to healing. Let's go ahead and drink our Mana Tea, because that gives us back Shaylin's Gift stacks. Man, I think the new Shaylin's Gift is really good in a build like this, because we're just plowing through our mana bar for the most part whenever we need to do healing. So what we can do is we can basically like ramp up a couple of hots, rip a fat Shaylin's Gift, and then drink Mana Tea, and then rip another fat Shaylin's Gift. So I really do like Shaylin's Gift, the new talent. I'm a big Shammow's Lessons fan, so it does suck to see that go. However, this new talent's kind of won me over, man. So for those that don't know, it's the one that when you drink Mana Tea, you generate a Cloud of Mist. So you're basically trading your Mana Tea stacks in for mana and Shaylun stacks. Is it better than Veil of Pride? Time will only tell, but so far I really like it in a build like this. In a Shaylun's build, well, obviously a Shaylun's build, in like a caster build, let's go ahead and see if we can get away with Crackling Jade Lightning on a pool like this until that Lich starts to like really amp up. I don't think I do have Fort Brew. We're just gonna go ahead and Fort Brew that dot away. Also, that frees me up to dispel that dot. This Lich never really did a bunch of damage, but we are gonna commit a Thunder Focus Tea. I don't want to commit a full-on Shayluns, or a full-on well, yeah, Shayluns, or Revival or Yulon. So we're just going to commit that. Oh, God. Okay, I don't think my Thickness pulled that, but someone's Thickness pulled that. I do have a Revival on standby for if these dots start to swarm us a bit. But this build is a ton of fun. I will say the most boring thing is actually this Crackling Jade Lightning thing. But good news, I do think that that is the worst thing about this build. So I do have another build that I'm going to feature in my next video that I think is just a better version of this build. Basically, you're trading out... oh no, we're lagging. No, don't lag. No, oh, just beta problems. Yeah, I definitely feel what this DK is feeling. But basically, with the build that I want to feature in the next video, I'm going to replace Crackling Jade Lightning, so Jade Empowerment, with like a Rushing Wind Kick kind of synergy. And if you haven't seen, there's some like newer talents that they released on a delay, basically. There's a talent that uses your mastery to scale up your rushing or rising sun kick damage. So it's a very cool talent. Oh, we are rooted, so we're going to Tiger's Lust out of that. Very cool. We're going to also leg sweep before those frost bolts go off. But yeah, that build looks super sick, and I do plan on playing that tomorrow. Man, I need to really lean into Crackling Jade Lightning a lot more. The benefit to not doing so is that you're using mana. You're using more mana, I should say. So you're getting more Mana Tea stacks, thus more Shaylun's Gift stacks. But really, you know, you're getting more mana by not spending that much mana. So we need to be doing damage as much as we can. Okay, DH is back, so we have a video, hopefully. It's not letting me cast Renewing Mist on him, though. Oh, it's because he's literally in Narnia. Okay. But where this build really, I think, will struggle a lot is this exact thing. Well, not really this boss, because you have multiple targets to cleave off of. But if you are not able to... If you are not able to cleave, then Jade Empowerment, the new version of Jade Empowerment, loses a ton of value. Because it no longer does more damage to your initial target, now it just evenly cleaves on 5 targets always. So... if you only have one target to hit, you're getting a lot less value from it. It looks like this group is on top of Kicks, which I have had a few runs, not just this dungeon. I've had like an Algathar Academy fail because there's literally one boss ad and no one kicked it. And then this dungeon, this boss I've had fail because they did not kick the They did not kick the boss. Okay, we're getting pinged to go over here so that we kind of like bait the boss around the edge of the room. I actually like that a lot. But you know, it's funny. They removed kicks from a lot of classes, but then it feels like every kick that I've seen so far is like one that like one-shots a player. Like these death bolts, legit one-shot a player. I think our tank's intention was to tank on the edge so that we could drop around the edge of the room, right? But yeah, I mean, I guess since we have 2 targets to cleave off of, my damage isn't like super bad, especially once these ads spawn and we can really start to nuke them down. Let's go in Yulon here. Huge healing, absolutely huge healing. I will say, like, one big downside to Yulon in specifically dungeons is that Yulon just wasn't bursty enough before. But the addition of, Emperor's Elixir, man, I feel like this video is just all me talking about Emperor's Elixir and how good it is. But with the addition of... I just said addiction. I'm sorry, I had to catch myself. With the addition of Emperor's Elixir, I mean... Yulon packs a big burst. Like, it really does. Because you're getting, on summon, you're getting that big initial... Chi Cocoon like you do with Chi-Ji, but you do get that instant enveloping mist, and then since you have built-in peer into piece, you're just like slamming those enveloping mists around. And with a build like this, like I am full committing and playing Tier of Morning, which feels good with Yulon, but it's really not necessary. We're gonna have to Cocoon the tank. I'm pretty sure. Hold on, I'm just now realizing, is this Equinox the like rank 1 or rank 2, I don't know what rank, what's it called? Brewmaster Monk. I feel like it is. Dude, look at his damage. Our Brewmasters, or not Brewmasters, our Blood Death Knight's just broken right now. Is that what I'm seeing? Okay, so I did just use my Shayloons, so let's go and remove these debuffs without using Revival. But after I Shayloons, I popped my, my Manatee. Get these stacks back. Let's go and drink again. Dude, that Blood Death Knight damage is kind of nutty. Absolutely nutty, man. But I have already timed this dungeon. So really I had yesterday set aside to play beta all day long, and the servers were down all day, so I did not get to play at all the whole day that I had set aside to do dungeons and stuff. The servers literally came up as my raid was ending, and at that point it was just too late. I had to go get my wife from the airport. So unfortunate that I didn't get to play yesterday. I think I have aggro. Could be wrong though. Didn't get to play at all yesterday. I don't think many people did, except for like those late night streamers and stuff. But so far, I am having so much fun. I have multiple builds cooked up for Mistweaver, and like I said, I don't know if I mentioned it in this video, but I do have at least 3 builds cooked up for Mistweaver, and I think that this is going to be the 3rd best performing, so basically the worst of the 3. So with it, actually, like honestly, these Crackling Jade Lightnings, I'm able to kind of just sit in Crackling Jade Lightning for a lot of the time. Honestly, this build's performing as well as you would want it to. The burst healing is very impressive, but it's not really tied to this build, you know what I mean? Like, you can take the burst healing talents that I'm using and basically just slap them into a different build that I think the whole build would function better than this build. Because I think these Crackling Jade Lightnings are, once again, not only the weakest thing, but the most boring thing in this build. Because, like, look, I'm just sitting here and there's, like, no interaction. Now, I will say there is some min-maxing that you can do by spamming these Crackling Jade Lightnings now, where if you watch your target that you're hitting, watch his damage numbers tick, and if you recast it right after a damage number ticks, you can kind of like double dip those ticks, as opposed to like if you let the full Crackling Jade Lightning channel, a lot of times it can be like inefficient. You'll have like a little lag or a little delay between like 1 or 2 casts, and 2 when the 2 ticks happen, like the end of the cast and the beginning of the cast. So that is like one min-maxy thing that you can do that kind of makes it a little bit more interactive and engaging. But other than that, it's, you know, there's not much you can do. Let's tap tap our mana food just for a tap. That's okay. We didn't really need it. Just to be safe. Okay, this one, we're going to try to not crowd our casters. Let's make sure I can get out of that. I almost forgot. Let's go and pop Yulon. Just to be safe. The tank is about to get a big slam on him. And then having Yulon gives us movement speed. Basically, we can't be slowed below 90% while Yulon's out because of a talent that we're taking. And that really helps for like for dodging, and that way we can stay in our Soothing Mist and dodge reliably. Now, one benefit to this build, you're actually seeing it here, is I can actually LOS and maintain my Ancient Teachings healing, whereas like the Mistweaver build, you know, if you have to LOS during damage, you're kind of SOL. Like you're not just LOS, you're SOL. Because, you know, you have to like LOS, like move away from the boss. You can't really punch through a wall. But this build, if you start your Crackling Jade Lightning before you LOS, you can kind of keep that Crackling Jade Lightning for as you're LOS'd. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's not like the most crazy interaction, but it's something, right? It's like something good. All right, we're breaking this one, but that means that we'll have to go hide behind that far one. Which is fine. I guess it's close to the boss's, like, little room. See what I mean? Like, we can, like, start our Crackling Jade Lightning while we can see, and then LOS, and then maintain it, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. A lot of people I've seen are really dooming on Mistweaver, and I don't get it, man. I definitely think that a lot of the doom... Ooh, he got hit by the swirly. A lot of the doom that I would have for this spec is not the spec, it's just for healers. I feel like the UI is still like shaky, but they've definitely been listening to our feedback and made a lot of improvements. I just face tank that, but why did it do no damage? I wonder if it like procced my Dance of Wind. I wish that this survey would move. Interesting. But golly, dude. And I feel like this has to be that Brewmaster player. He is like insane at Brewmaster. He's just slamming the damage, dude. But you see here, like I said, our single target damage really dips. Like it really dips. But the throughput that we're able to do, we are even able to like outmatch a D8 or a DK, and one of the best players potentially in the world. So pretty cool. But like I said, that has nothing to do with Crackling Jade Lightning. But on a lot of pools like this, like, we just have the dragon as, like, the mini-boss of choice here. And the dragon's not that scary. I guess these little ads do rack up a pretty nasty amount of damage on the tank. But as long as we kind of, like, dispel him frequently and kick some of these frost bolts, like, he should be fine. So a lot of pools like this, like, we can maintain this Crackling Jade Lightning. However, if you look on the damage meters, our damage is still very low. But don't let that fool you too much. Yes, the damage is pretty low compared to what it can potentially be on a Mistweaver. But it's a lot worse than it looks because no healers are doing big damage right now from what I know. They have really done a number to healer damage, and I don't like it. I feel like War Within, we were already kind of, like our damage was already super lackluster. And then here we are in Midnight, that's just taken to the, like, the umpteenth level? Is that a thing? Umpteenth? Why can't I say that? Probably because it's kind of like a made-up saying, but to the umpteenth level. There we go. But yeah, they have really cracked down on healer damage, and healers like Mistweaver are, like, they are hurt the most because obviously, like, our damage, how much we're doing, scales our healing, so we need to be able to do big damage. But especially when you play a build built around new Jade Empowerment, you really start to feel the lack of damage. But from what I've seen and experienced on... don't crowd me. Don't crowd me. Oh, shout out to Emperor's Elixir there. Oh my goodness. Saved the Druid. He took too much damage. But even with like a Mistweaver build in my testing, you definitely feel that your damage is so low that you're doing a lot less healing as well, which is not where you want to be at. I really hope that they take a look at the healing numbers, or I'm sorry, the healer damage numbers. But you see how fluid this build is? Like, I see why they made a lot of changes to Mistweaver and like what their intent was to at least give caster players a little bit of viability, right? This feels so fluid where like you get to sit here in a Crackling Jade Lightning as your maintenance throughput, sit afar so you can benefit from the new talent that like regens your health if you're 15 yards away. And then when you need to stop to do the healing, you can really just crank it and just burst out the healing with Emperor's Elixir. Like, I gotta say, like, a lot of the talents are receiving a lot of backlash, and I get it for some of them, I really do. Like, some of them are a little questionable, but some of them deserve praise. Absolutely deserve praise, and Emperor's Elixir right now has absolutely made multiple of these builds possible. Like, this build would not be as good, or as passable, I should say, if it weren't for Emperor's Elixir, and I can already, you know, kind of spoil it for you, that the build tomorrow, the really crazy hybrid build that we're going to be playing, is also kind of built off the back of Emperor's Elixir. Like, we're kind of trying to use it a bunch. I should definitely take a look at, or keep my eye on Equinox there when he gets that tank smash, because they have to move out of it, and you're like really, really slowed as far as I understand, and you got to help them like get out of it. But I feel like DK should have like plenty of ways to get out of it. But it basically one-shots a tank, so I have no idea how he lived there. And I can't really... We don't have Omni CD anymore, so I can't really tell if he, like, purgatoried it. Oh, so that's what he does. He just takes it out far. Got it. Okay. He's saying to help him. Oh, he's saying to stack. Yeah, we do need to stack to some of these ads. Get them all stacked in. Is that an A-Bombs limb? Did they give DK's back A-Bombs limb? Oh, my goodness. That is insane, dude. I did not know that. Okay, we just Shayloons, so we're going to sit back Manatee, get all those stacks back. Love to see it. We already have a bursty Shayloons on reserve if we need it. And we're back to having Yulon. Dude, this build is so much fun. We are absolutely just nuking this dungeon. By we, I mean Equinox, dude. His damage is insane. But, like, we're still getting to see the mechanics, so it's not like a... We're not just, like, killing everything before we get to the mechanics, you know what I mean? Let's go and summon Yulon, use Emperor's Elixir to go ahead and just start the City Mist channel with an Enveloping Mist and Blast. We're going to Tiger's Lust the tank. That was a little bit late, but I want to get into that habit. Is if they're close, I want to just have that Tiger's Lust ready for them. Oh, let me show you a cool interaction. It might come up, and it has come up while I was doing some like leveling dungeons the other day. You can roll and then start either a Soothing Mist or Crackling Jade Lightning, and then double jump, and you'll keep that channel going. So let me show you again. Crackling Jade Lightning, and then you double jump midair. You can't roll mid Crackling Jade Lightning. That cancels your Crackle. However, you can double jump while channeling either of those because of Way of the Serpent, which I don't even know if I've discussed Way of the Serpent this video. Dude, Way of the Serpent is super sick. Super sick. But as you see there, we timed it so quick that I even got more IO. So we take that that beta IO. This guy said, I'm sad being out DPS by a tank. I would not be super sad. It's Equinox. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, this build, look, a lot of what this build is doing is very powerful. However, what a lot of what this build is kind of built around, which is your maintenance, which is what you're doing most of the time, ideally, is weak. So I'm definitely excited to test out a lot of these interactions again in different builds. Like, for example, like I've said a bunch of times, Emperor's Elixir is super strong. I do want to give Shayloons more of a shot in a Fistweaving build. And then also, I think, like, I don't know, I definitely think Chi-Ji is going to be the play. So if we can build a build around Chi-Ji, we definitely can do a lot better. But honestly, like, a lot of the synergy Shayloons with its new Tranquility talent is like super powerful, super powerful. I'm definitely excited to swap away from Jadefire Teachings, although like it does kind of suck swapping like having meditative focus. So I don't know, maybe we dabble a little bit in Conduit tomorrow. I don't know, but guys, what do you think of this build? This build is super fun. I've been so excited to try it out on beta, and now I could, and it definitely has not let me down. I will say, one thing has kind of like been letting me down that shade empowerment, just how boring it is and how bad it is for single targets. But other than that, like, it does passable damage until you need to swap to the healing. A big downside with this build though is that when you swap to the big healing, you just lose all of your damage uptime. So I don't know. Maybe they can rework this or buff it a little bit to make it more impressive. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this the day that it goes live, I am likely live streaming more builds, like more Mistweaver builds. So definitely tune into the stream, check to see if I'm live on Twitch or YouTube. Also, if you want to, if you missed the stream, you can hit subscribe on YouTube and follow on Twitch to see when I go live next. We always have fun. We always test a bunch of stuff. I love just messing around with random builds. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care, guys.